Hi, my name's Sharon Henderson and I'm the owner of KEM Business in a Box. And today I just wanted to talk to you about why I'm on this journey and where I started and why I am wanting to launch this project in the next few weeks. So a little bit about myself. As you can probably tell from the accent, I am from the UK and worked for a number of years as a London lawyer and worked on some really expensive cases, actually, multi-million pound cases, which was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it. It was good. And I earned a lot of money for someone that was in their 20s, more money than I really knew what to do with at the time. So it was really cool. But after a number of years traveling 3 hours a day in a stinking hot tube, stuck under someone's armpits, watching the sweat on the ceiling just pooling and dripping down, I just felt that it was just not worth all the stress and the unpleasantness of getting to work and the long hours. And I just got sick of traveling in London, and you'd come home and the dirt that would come out of your nose when you blew your nose and you got home, it just wasn't healthy. I just felt that it wasn't healthy for a number of reasons. So I actually decided to move out of London, and it cost me about £10,000 in a pay cut to move to work in the suburbs instead. And that was fun. I enjoyed the people that I worked with. But what I found was that I was working on much lower value cases, and I'm used to giving everything my all and putting in the time that's necessary. And when you're working on really expensive cases, you can do that. But the small cases, that just wasn't possible. And it was frustrating because I couldn't bill for the amount of time that I was spending trying to do the very best I could for clients. And I became a bit disillusioned, to be honest, because I realized that the law really only benefits the rich. And I decided in the end, there was the bombing of the Twin Towers with that horror that happened September the 11th. It just made me take stock. And I realized I hadn't really seen the world. I just worked as a lawyer and had a very insular outlook on life. So within a month, I'd packed up all my stuff, given it all away, got on a plane with my old secretary from a previous job, and off we went to explore pastures new. And I was hoping to find myself and discover something better. And it was a real experience. It was a huge experience and amazing in so many ways, because I got to meet people that I would never have met working as a lawyer. I met people in all walks of life and people from all different countries with different experiences, different outlooks. And that was really valuable. And I'd say that in the year that I spent traveling around Australia, I grew as a person far, far more than I ever had working in London as a lawyer. So during the time that I travelled overseas, one thing became really apparent to me, and that was that I didn't want to go back to the UK. I used to sit in the office with my light box because you'd get up and it would be dark and you'd work and then you'd come home, and on the way home it would be dark and you just didn't really see much light at all in the UK in the winter, and summers were certainly not a guarantee. So with that, and for a lot of reasons, the one thing I knew more than anything was that I didn't want to go back home and start again. So I decided to retrain as a scuba diving instructor, which was a lot of fun. And I had this dream that I'd be able to travel the world, working anywhere glorious that I liked, teaching people to dive. But the reality was, unfortunately, quite different. I moved to New Zealand and started working over there, and I was working crazy hours under really quite unsafe working conditions. And the money was appalling. And I just got really exhausted, and in the end, I just had to stop. And I tried a number of different jobs. I couldn't work as a lawyer in New Zealand, even though they use English law. I would have had to be retrained and spent a lot of money doing so. And my heart just wasn't in it. I didn't want to have to do that all over again. So I tried different jobs, and eventually I retrained as an English teacher. By this point, I'd met my husband, and we both ended up retraining as teachers, actually. And I worked as an English teacher until I fell pregnant with my first child. And then I took maternity leave and decided I didn't really want to go back to doing that, because it's hard work. People think you have holidays and that you only work from 8 till 3, but the reality is a lot different. The marking, the preparation, it's a huge amount of work, and the pay isn't great. You're never going to get rich that way, that's for sure. So I became a full-time mum, and then I had a second child and a third child, and that was awesome. And I'm really blessed to have 3 beautiful children, 2 girls and a boy. But there came a point where I realized that I actually needed more. I needed to stimulate my intellect again. I needed to do something that was mine for me. And so I explored a lot of different avenues. And the issue that I had was I didn't want to put my kids in care. I didn't want to be traveling to work 9 to 5 and not seeing them, not being there for them. And if I wanted to get a job that worked well around school holidays and school hours, first of all, they're impossible to find, and you get really poor pay because they are so highly sought after. And it just wasn't what I wanted. So I was stuck for a while and yearning for something more. And of course, we really could have done with extra income as well. 3 children don't come cheap. So I was talking to a friend one day, and she knew that I liked writing, and she suggested that I start writing a blog. And I just felt this bolt of excitement, this electricity. I thought, yes, this is something I can do. And I can do it from home, and it will be perfect. And she pointed out that you can monetize your site with affiliate links and links to different products. And it sounded perfect. And she said, WordPress is the way to go. So I started on a very long journey, but I had a completely different mindset, something I'd not had with law. Law was something that was hard to do. It took a lot of study, and I did it, but I resisted all the way. I didn't enjoy the study. It just felt like hard work. But with this, my mind was just open. It was like a sponge. I couldn't get enough of the information, and everything felt like a challenge. And when I couldn't do things, it was a challenge to overcome. It didn't feel like hard work. And I just learned so much in a really short space of time. And what I discovered, I already knew I loved writing. I loved writing articles and all of that. But what I really realized was that I absolutely loved building websites, the creativity involved, the design, the branding, just everything about it, making everything look beautiful, the integration of the images and just everything. I just absolutely loved it. And so I really built my first site. I put a lot of time into it and started building other sites as well, just to learn more. And actually, I started an online store selling kombucha kits, and that was cool. I really enjoyed that. And I remember getting my first sale and being so stoked. But after a number of sales, buying all the gear, getting all the bubble wrap, wrapping everything up so that it was going to be nice and protected, and just the whole process, it took so long. And when I looked at the profit that I was making, the time it was taking me to get everything packaged and delivered, I realized this was not the way to make money. So I kept building sites. I played with different themes and site builders, and along the way I had quite a few white screen of death moments. It's every developer's nightmare, where one minute you have a site and the next minute you've got a white screen and you're thinking, oh my goodness, have I lost everything? And it can be days of battling and figuring out and Googling and trying to find out what the problem is. So it was really challenging, but again, I found it really, really enjoyable. I absolutely loved it, and I just learned so much. And eventually I got to a point where I was able to avoid those white screens of death. But it was many, many hours of work, but well worth it, and I loved it. So what I decided to do was to spend a year building out a portfolio. So I did some sites for friends, I built my own themes, designed demo sites, and by the end of the year I had a really, really good portfolio. And I thought, right, now it's time to get out there, and I'm going to advertise, and I'm going to get some work. So I took an advert out and I put it in our online interface called Trade Me, where people sell services and they buy and sell products. And in New Zealand, it's really popular. So I took out an advert and I waited. Nothing, absolutely nothing. I tried writing articles and posting them on local groups in the area. I just got absolutely nowhere. And it was really, really disheartening, because I knew I was really good. And what I realised was that the market is just absolutely saturated in New Zealand. Everybody is building websites, and I knew that I needed to do something that set me apart from everybody else. I did manage to get some clients, and that was really good. And what I loved was the fact that I gave the clients an experience, a customer experience that meant that they were really happy. They knew they were getting value for money. I couldn't help myself. They'd give me copy that was appalling, and I would just rewrite it, because I couldn't put a website out there that looked amazing but had really poor copy. So I'd rewrite the copy for them. But what I was realizing was that the amount of work I was putting in was far greater than the profit that I was really making when I looked at it. If I broke it down into an hourly rate, it just wasn't worth it. And I didn't want to be one of those people who build site after site, and when you actually look at their portfolio, you can see that they're just templates and they're just slotting in the images and slotting in the copy, and every site is the same. That I did not want. Another thing that I found that was really frustrating was that trying to sell recurring monthly payment type services was a no-no in New Zealand as well, because unfortunately people in New Zealand are looking for the cheapest way of doing things. It's very different to places like the US. Everybody is trying to do things as cheaply as they can, and there's definitely the mindset that they'll pay a certain amount of money for something, but the thought of then paying a regular sum on a regular basis just doesn't seem to compute. And if I'd been able to do that, then maybe building websites would have been more profitable, but as things stood, it just wasn't. So while I was trying to decide what to do, I decided that I'd apply my love of design to something, and a friend suggested building an online store. So that's what I did. I built a store, and I started creating New Zealand-inspired designs, Kiwiana, things like Pahutakawa flowers and gumboot patterns and that sort of stuff. And I started to create my own store featuring my designs on a whole different range of apparel. And what I discovered was that you can actually integrate certain print-on-demand companies, so that you add your designs, you feature them in your store, and then everything's automated. You don't have to carry any stock at all. A customer buys an item, you nominate a print fulfillment company, they produce the the print with the design on the apparel that the customer selects, and then automatically drop ship it anywhere in the world. And this to me was just incredible. It meant that I didn't have to find a massive amount of money to invest on stock and then worry and have sleepless nights wondering, are people going to buy it, or am I going to be stuck with a warehouse full of goods? So that's what I did. And my store's pretty cool. And it's a really good way to go for anyone, I think, who wants to work around kids, doesn't have a huge amount of money that they can pour into stock maintenance and management and warehousing, and no risk, because you can test the market. The things that sell, brilliant. You just design more of those things, and the things that don't, so you take them off the store and replace it with high selling products. So it really is a brilliant business opportunity, I think. The one problem that I did have, though, was how do I get my designs out there? And I felt like I was really operating in a bit of a vacuum. I didn't have those connections, didn't really know what to do. So what I decided to do was immerse myself in the world of marketing, do courses and learn all about how to market my products. And through doing that, I've met an awesome team of people, and I've partnered with a marketing and branding agency. And what I've now been able to offer is what I really struggled to find myself. And that is basically an entire wraparound service and support network. That means not only are you getting a store, but you're getting all the support that you need to make that store a success. I didn't want to be one of those businesses that just builds stores for people, hands them over and leaves them to it. What I want is to give them a store that's customized for them, every store being different, and then support them through their journey of establishing the products, the designs that they want to sell, giving them the technical support that they want, and also helping them market their designs so that they actually make a success of their enterprise. That's really important to me, because my customers' success is my success. And so that's how KEM Biz in a Box was born. And so what we do is we build a store in consultation with our customers, and we add their branding, we add their colours, and we change the layout of the store so everyone is different. Because at the end of the day, the last thing anyone wants is a whole heap of stores that all look the same. Everyone has to be unique. For people who want to be able to design their own apparel, that's brilliant, and they can obviously do that. And we have a catalogue of over 100 different types of products that you can design and sell. We've got things like just the standard t-shirts, we've got sweaters, hoodies, shoes, bags, towels, bedding, jewelry. The list just goes on and on. And for people who like the idea of running a business but don't actually know what designs that they should be selling, we offer a niche consulting strategy session where we'll talk with you about the niche that you want to focus on, and we will then go ahead and research the best sellers, and our team of designers will then create top selling designs for you to add to your store if that's what you want to do. We'll add you to a Facebook group so you have moral support, which to me is absolutely crucial. There's nothing worse than being on your own, wondering what to do. This way you have people working towards the same goals in a group that can support one another. And we also have a membership site that offers how-to videos on technical aspects, on marketing. So at the end of the day, you are completely supported in your journey to a successful store. And when it comes to marketing, we can do all of that for you as well. We can run SEO services, brand strategy, Facebook ads, whatever you need, we have a package for you so that you are a success. And that was really important to me, that everybody who gets a KEM Biz in a Box store is successful. That's my mission. And I look forward to the next installment. Speak soon. Bye.